Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the Instagram Hockey Collectors Roundtable. This is episode 6. Hope you're enjoying your weekend so far. With me today, I've got returning guest, frequent guest, Kelvin. He's back. He's awake. We were up late last night, way too late looking at cheap Upper Deck inserts. So we'll have to talk about those in the future in an episode. Tim is back too. Tim, welcome back. Glad you're not melting right now with your AC on, thankfully. And for the first time joining us, Alex is here.
Hey guys,
big round of applause.
Woo!
Yeah, you made it, dude. You made it.
I know. I wanted to be on last week, but I couldn't. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me, of course.
You bet, man. And thanks for joining us last night too. We're recording this one, so yeah, thanks for joining us last night and listening to us ramble on about different things.
Yeah.
So I just want to hop right into this so everybody kind of gets to know Alex. Tim and Alex are really good friends. They've been talking for years, and this is the first time they've seen each other's faces and talked to each other in
like
person.
A blind date.
And you haven't left yet. You're still here. No awkward silence.
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
Oh man. Yeah. So Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like who do you collect? Why do you like Instagram? Why are you friends with Tim? All that good stuff.
Well, Tim's a great guy. Don't sell him short.
Yeah.
But no, I kind of collect everything. So my main PCs are Mikhail Grabovski from the Toronto Maple Leafs, or he used to be on the Toronto Maple Leafs, who probably, I think only 2 other people in the world collect him, and they're both from Belarus. So I'm from Toronto, but I collect him. I collect too much. I collect a lot of wrestling. Andrea Bargnani from the former Toronto Raptors.
That's how I found your page for the first time when I first got on Instagram. It was like 3 years ago. I'm like, Bargnani collector, nice.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Bargnani fans in this world. Probably me and his mom, maybe. But other than that, I kind of like. I used to collect Pokemon. That's how I started, and then I went into like kind of Leafs base cards. You know, as a kid, you don't have a budget for anything, right? So Leafs, right. And then Joe Sakic, obviously, because that's my username. And I've been, as you can see there, I have the same bad username since 2006. That's when I made my YouTube channel that I used to post box breaks like back in 06. But yeah, I kind of just been collecting everything. If you go to my page, you can see like every sport: wrestling, basketball, soccer, hockey. I'm surprised there's no lacrosse in there. Like,
I mean, we need some Formula One in here. That's the only thing I'm going to say. We'll get some of that.
I don't think I have any Formula One, actually.
This is awesome, though, dude. Great variety. And I got to say, are you scanning with the Epson scanner as well?
I am. The Epson Perfection
600?
4300, I think.
Okay, basically the same thing. Yeah,
same thing, yeah.
We're I recognize an Epson scanner, bro. When I see one, I'm in that group, and I love that thing.
Yeah.
But no, I think one thing that I noticed, jeez, what a card. Oh my gosh. It's just a variety on here, you know, like
a mishmash.
Yeah.
My collection is nostalgia driven. So like basically I told Tim actually last night, if I like something, I kind of like it forever. I never kind of lose the love for it. So you can see like Sergei Berezin right there. He's like my favorite Leaf of all time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I collect a little bit of everything, but
I like it. I've always appreciated collections with variety too. I don't know about you, Tim, and Kelvin, but like going on Instagram, I like seeing well-rounded collections, whether it's a player or it's just many sports. It's cool to talk with people who like cards from all these different, like even Marvel and racing and Pokemon. I mean, there's so much to like within the hobby. It's nice to be like a well-traveled collector in that way, you know. Yeah. So that's good. Now, Tim, how did you guys end up meeting?
I remember it was through Kovalchuk, my Kovalchuk collection. Right?
Yeah, well, that probably did it. Yeah, I love Kovalchuk.
Yeah, actually, and it's funny because I think one of my first posts was on Instagram was of my Zetterberg Future Watch patch auto, and I think you might have commented on that. But then it was through my Kovalchuk collection that our conversation really grew, and then from there we just we never looked back.
Spiraled.
The rabbit hole opened up, and it's even.
Yes. Yep.
As we talked about last night, you've been influencing each other to spend more money than you probably ever would without.
This
so
is
bad.
so true. Yes.
It's so bad.
We keep each other poor all the time.
See, that's why I'm friends with Kelvin. I like being poor. I like my ramen at night. It's Kelvin's fault, you know. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, friendships within Instagram, obviously in the hobby, but man, the friendships on Instagram, that's keeps me posting, I think, because you kind of get to have those interactions and strengthen the friendships in the hobby and enjoy each other's collections. And that's just awesome, man. Love it. Let me fire off a random question here for Alex. I got to give you a tough one here to start you off. Who are, like, if you were going to name, like, you know, you said man of many collections, give me like your top 5 most like prized player collections that you have right now, because I know you have a wide variety. But
so my number 1 I would say is my Andrea Bargnani collection, because I try to make an effort to get one of every of his rookie year cards, and so he was the first overall draft pick in 06. So, you know, with like any sport, if you're the top pick, you're getting cards in every set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And back in 06, there was Topps, there was I almost said Panini, there was Topps, there was Upper Deck, Press Pass, like every company, right?
Yeah.
So I think the list is like almost 350 different cards for Bargnani. That's excluding one-of-ones. So I'm down to like 14. So it's been a long journey. Other than that, yeah, thank you. Other than that, probably my Mikhail Grabovski PC. I'm only missing like 4 of his cards, and it's like one of them is that French back from Score. Like, I'll never find that. 3 of my cards out of the 4 have been on my want list for over 10 years, and I've never seen a copy. So.
A French back from Score. Yeah, that was one that Kelvin told me about. And I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to find. Like, now I feel like I'm never going to see it. So
never.
It's brutal. It's not even a French back. It's a French line.
Yeah, it's just one sentence or one line.
Yeah.
I need to see an example of this so I at least know it's on the back. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So like, there's the. Sorry, go ahead, Kelvin.
No. I was just gonna pull up a picture. You can explain it.
It's literally the same back as everything else. That has a picture on top, the number, the whole bio. It literally on top of the bio has one extra line of French. That's it.
Wow. I mean, that's the thing. You'd have to look at the back of every base card, and the stock and everything's the same, I'm guessing, right?
Everything.
Yep.
That's cool. All right. Well,
one
Kelvin,
line.
Here we go. Let's see. I'm going to have to show it on the screen just so we can. Hey, okay. There we go. I thought that was Burroughs for a second. I was like, no way. Cool. Yeah, because this is the kind of stuff when you're collecting a player that's not as well known, you have to go for stuff like this. So here's the front. Looks like every other Score base card, and then it's this. Okay, there it is.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
That's it. Just that line.
And do they all say this phrase right here?
The ones that are not French back don't have a phrase there, I believe. It's just empty.
Okay, so all the French backs have this exact same phrase on the back?
Yeah.
And can anybody read French?
Nope.
I should be able to.
You say button, no.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that's fun.
Something, you're never going to find this card, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's kind of like the blank backs, you know what I mean? It's fun to find those because some of them you'll never see, you know. So
yeah, for sure.
Cool. So you got those 2. How about, I'm seeing some goalie cards here. Do you have a main goalie PC?
I personally don't. I'm not that I dislike goalies, but I'm not.
Careful now.
Yeah, I hate goalies now.
Yeah, that's right. Block. Get him out of here.
Growing up, I was like a Sakic guy, and then my sister was a Cujo collector. So she was a big Cujo fan. She thought he was cute, you know, like every little crush, right? Like a teenage crush. She thought he was cute, so she started collecting some of his cards. And then we talked about earlier, I have her old collection. So I guess that is my goalie PC.
Very cool.
But other than that, just a couple of random cards like that Patrick Waugh that you saw on my page.
Those are tough cards. Those precious metals are.
They're really tough.
Really tough.
I have 3 of them. I would love to add the Sakic one day, but yeah, no real goalies. And then I have some wrestling sets, some big like autograph sets. As Tim knows, that I've been chasing and I completed. And then and then Malkin is probably my like other big PC that I kind of started collecting once my main PCs ran dry, and I'm like, I need to buy something. So Malkin it is because I like him.
Gotcha. All right, you guys go for it. To put the pressure on Tim and Kelvin. You guys got a question for this guy? Something you'd ever want to ask in person, Tim or Kelvin? Something you want to know? Make it tough on him too, right? We got to really put the pressure on him his first time on here.
I'm feeling the pressure, so yeah, let's go.
All right. I'll just say next expo that you attend, you have to spend money. And what is the main card that you're going to be looking for then?
Ooh. That's so realistically, I want to say like, one of my rare wrestling cards I'm looking for, but realistically at the expo, I won't find that. So that's tough because I've always wanted like, an Ovechkin Future Watch or something like that, or right, or Crosby.
Yeah.
I can't afford those anymore. Like, it hurts me to say this. I almost bought one in like 2018 on Hobby Insider forums. I wanted like 350, and I was like, it's a little much for me. And then now they're probably like 5, 6, 7, 8 Gs. So yeah.
Let's go back in time. Me and Alex always say, let's create that time machine and go back to when those prices were affordable.
Cool. Let's do it.
My goodness.
Bring me back like 4 years. That's it. Just give me 4 years.
You guys realize haven't you seen the Simpsons episode where he goes back in time and kills a fly and like the whole everything's different? I had to make that reference. If we all go back and like I get all the flurries, he gets all the Huberto or whoever, Stevie Y, and we all do that, and then come back and that's going to mess up everybody else's collections, and who knows what else is going to be different,
Listen, right? I'm going all the way back. Ty Cobb T206. I'm buying all.
I mean, might as well go back and get the Honus Wagner and bring like 10 of them back. You know what I mean? That won't raise any red flags when you show up at the national. I'd like to get these graded.
Right.
They're all 10s.
Yeah, exactly. What? Yeah, we don't want to do that. What about you, Kelvin? You got any questions for this guy?
Do you collect any like super modern players? Like anyone in like that got drafted in the past like 4 years?
Not really. I do. I picked up a rainbow recently, like a full rainbow. It's funny because I have it right beside me if you want to see. But Ilya Mikheyev, who now is a Vancouver Canuck, which breaks my heart. But I loved him on the Leafs. Like, I know he's not like a all-star player, but he's fast, kill penalties. I love my background. I'm Portuguese, so I'm European. And so I love all the Euro players, like all these like fast, like Russian dudes. And so I picked up this Mikheyev. You can't really see because the glare, but full rainbow, including.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
Hey, I'm weak at the knees, man.
Yeah. It's funny because Tim actually helped me get this. He saw someone posted on their story, like, "Hey, I'm selling the whole rainbow." And I'm like, oh shit, or sorry if I can't swear, but I'm like, oh crap. And so I messaged the guy and we made a local deal. Like, I gave him cash, he handed me the cards, and that's it.
That's so cool that you got to meet up with him, man. And Kelvin was just talking about that experience at the expo, how cool it was to meet with fellow collectors of Brodeur and like trade, and like it's like a whole new dynamic, you try to do a negotiation on Instagram and it doesn't quite work out, but if you like have the cards in front of you and you build up a nice rapport, like, you know what, let's do 400 instead of 500 just so I can get the card to you. Like it's a whole new thing, man. So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really awesome. I thought Kelvin was going to say, what would you give me? What would you give for the would you sell that Brodeur?
I was going to make that joke too.
I was like, as soon as he started talking, I wanted to say it. He's got too many other cards on his want list. We discussed that last night. And anyways, that's good, man. Good questions. Interested to it'd be nice to go to the expo next year, meet up with everybody just to make sure Alex spends money, and then
I'm spending mine. Don't worry. I'm spending. Next expo, went broke.
That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to really limit myself. Like Kelvin went with the budget, and I think that's a really good way to go. Like, get some cash, put it, come with cash, and that's what you have, and don't go over it unless like a once in a lifetime card shows up. Then it's time to like wheel and deal and figure something out. So, okay, so big news, fellas, and this affects Tim quite big. Tim, tell us what went down a couple days ago.
So last night, Alex and I were speaking, and then out of nowhere, he just sends out a 2-word sentence. Huberdeau traded. Like, what are you talking about, Alex? And then I had to search it and confirm it myself, and I find out that Jonathan Huberdeau gets traded to the Calgary Flames for Matthew Tkachuk. And, of course, other pieces involved, but none that affect me so much. But, yes. Yeah. Huberdeau is a Flame. How does that sound to you guys? That is odd. How about those pictures, him wearing like a flame on his crest and everything like that? I can't get used to that.
No, bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this prior to recording. I think it's interesting to think about sometimes, depending on the system or the team that a player goes to, they can be better. So I'm talking about Tkachuk here more than I am Huberdeau. Yeah. Tkachuk coming to a team that could have, if we were talking about passing, would have won the Stanley Cup, right? Like you mentioned. I'm really fascinated to see how he's going to fit into that system, because he could make a huge jump from last year. So that's my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts, though, on the other side of it? Because, Huberdeau going to the Flames, who arguably got worse. They lost their best player. They're still a heck of a defensive team with some really good goaltending, but are they? I really don't know what they're going to do here.
Darryl Sittler is still the Flames coach, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Former Kings coach, right? Yeah. I mean, defensive heavy, scheme. I don't know. Maybe I hope Huberdeau can adapt to that, because he's going to have to. That's what Sittler demands of his players. But at least he'll have Elias Lindholm and a couple other decent.
Mangiapane's on that team still,
exactly.
Right?
If he could, I think he is, yeah. But can he replicate it again this season? That's the main thing.
That line that he played on with Gaudreau was just disgusting, right? Like, he scored a lot of points. What do you think, Kelvin? What are the hobby inclinations going to be here? Are we going to see more people going for Tkachuk now that he's going to Florida, or vice versa? What do you think?
I feel like there's going to be a little increase just because there's interest with like for Flames fans. They're probably like, oh, I need to get an Huberdeau card. But in the long term, I don't know how I feel about it, because usually when teams or when players like move away from their original team that they're drafted in, or like wherever the card is in, right? So like we'll say John Tavares. I think that's a good example. His cards are not as high as you think they would be. But
yeah, it's true.
It's just, I mean, there's also factors like Islanders hate him. All the fans hate him now, right? And then I don't know how Toronto fans feel about having like everything in his Islanders jersey. So I think that's like a good example of like, later on, it's kind of like, I don't know how people feel about like them playing on a different team. It's also with me, like when Bruder went to the Blues, I'm like, that was cool for like a week, and then I'm just like, no, it doesn't exist. So
I agree with. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's what it.
I agree with like that's a perfect example, the Tavares one, because he's half Portuguese, and I'm, again, like I said, I'm Portuguese, and he's the captain of the Leafs, who's my team. But you're completely spot on. Seeing him in an Islanders jersey, like, I don't want his young guns. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's gonna be the same thing for Tkachuk or Huberdeau, or it's pretty much every player that kind of switches teams. Or like, some people won't care, right? Some people will be like, "Oh, yeah, I like this player. I'm gonna get his cards."
Yeah,
me. But yeah,
both less.
But to some people, they're gonna be like, I don't really want that card. It's maybe I'll get like an autograph in the new jersey or something like that. So those cards are not as sought after, right? Like, the rookie year stuff is the good stuff for most people.
To make a connection to the player that I collect, mainly Fleury, when he first went to Vegas, there was that month where brand new team coupled with an amazing player. So everybody wanted his Vegas stuff, but then, a little bit of a drop off. But as they got good and made it to the finals, his Vegas stuff went nuts, and then he got put in everything. I think that if Huberdeau, either the Flames or the Panthers, like start off hot, and either of those players have a lot to do with it, like Fleury did with Vegas getting all the way to the finals, I think you'll see a nice jump. And people might say, you know what, doesn't matter what jersey they're in. I want this player's cards. Because for me, at first, I was like, I don't want any Vegas stuff. I remember when I first decided to collect Fleury, I'm like, just Penguins stuff. Being a Penguins fan from a kid. But then I realized just like how amazing of a player he is. And it just shouldn't matter what team he's on, regardless of Chicago. But, I'll hate on him now because Logan's not here, but I really don't want to get a Chicago stuff, but he looks awesome. So I guess I could just get past it rather than Brodeur on the Blues, which looks awesome in my opinion, but that's just me. I like saying it because I know it gets Kelvin all riled up. I'm going to every Brodeur Blues card I find at the card shops here in Washington when I go, I'm sending them your way, dude.
It has the worst part is I want in 2014-15 XPX, there's the grand finales that they made, but he's in his Blues jersey, and that's probably one of the most conflicting cards for me right now because I love the card, but I'm not a fan of the jersey.
Well, how many people? Because I like Batten Up Cursive on Instagram. He's got a really nice Gretzky Blues collection that he posts. Are you guys familiar with Ryan and his page?
Oh, yeah.
I think there's like a novelty. We were talking about this last night, Kelvin, about novelty cards. I feel like that is like a novelty idea, like collecting a player who had like a just a quick flash with the team, like Fleury on Chicago, Gretzky with St. Louis, Brodeur with St. Louis. They're kind of like cheaper because they're not like the most desired, but they're also cool because they're different. But that's just me finding ways to spend more money. So
I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, just a thought, food for thought. I'm sure people have done that too, and in other sports, like if Tyler Glasnow goes to another team like the Yankees, I'm out. I'm done. But if he goes to like the Mariners or another cool team, I'm in. So maybe it depends on the team too. Like think about your arch rivals, and if your favorite player went to your arch rival, I'd be like,
Well, I collect like Toronto Raptors cards, autographs. So I have like a huge collection of that. And if you're familiar with basketball, Hakeem Olajuwon played on the Raptors for 1 year.
Yep.
So I made an effort that I need his Raptors. He has one Raptors autograph, which I don't think I've got yet, but I do really want to buy one. Or find one.
Totally forgot about that, man. Jeez.
Yep. He played with Vince Carter, right? It was that year? I think it was his rookie year.
98? 98, right?
No, that year was 03-04, I believe.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon played in 03-04 still?
Yeah, it was last year.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Because that was Vince Carter's rookie year.
That was that was Bosch's rookie year. Chris Bosch.
Dang,
Or maybe the year before. I could be mistaken, but it's definitely one of those 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Side note there, had no idea. Jeez. This is like learning that Gordie Howe played for the Whalers or something like that when I first got into I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let's springboard this into talking about the guys that we do collect, and the skills or the traits. We'll say traits that bring us to collecting the players that we collect. I think, like Alex said, being a sentimental collector is what it's all about for me. I'm probably a sentimental person in general, I would say. So if I can find a sentimental connection to a player or a card, even makes it much more desirable than something that's more expensive, just because of rarity or desirability from the general collecting public, So I'm going to go to Kelvin first because, his player was okay. What do you know what it was thinking all the way back, dude? Like, do you remember what it was about Brodeur that because you're, New Jersey's a bit of a distance away from where you're at. So what was it about Marty?
He won in 2003. That's about it.
All right, moving on. Let's go to Alex next.
Yeah, no, it was just I was I mentioned I was a bandwagon kid, and he won any team who won in 2003. I happen to be a fan of them. Not anymore, but like I liked the Lakers. I liked the Devils. Plus won in 03. Patriots, I think won. I mean,
Probably.
they probably won. Yeah.
I need a boo sound effect in here. I don't think I have it ready.
Yeah. So, but then I still followed the Devils afterwards because they were just a fun team to watch. His setup was sick, and then just learning about his history, and everything, and the Devils' history as well too. So it was just fun, and just kind of just stuck with it after that. I didn't really look anywhere else other than that.
Gotcha. What about his personality? Because you look at Brodeur and like how he's always smiling. I love that video when he scored his first goal.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know how to feel. He looks and he laughs at the crowd. He laughs at himself. He laughs at the sky. Like he just can't hold it together. But in a good way. Like was that ever something that stuck out to you? Just like how much fun he always had out there?
I guess yeah. Just because he has a lot of cool moments, and you just see him just always having a good time. So I guess that does resonate with me.
That's awesome.
I have a question for Kelvin.
What's up?
Did his technique over the years, like I understand 2003, he wins, you become a fan. Yeah. But like throughout the years when you got to watch him a little bit more, did his goaltending technique or play style just grow on you, or is that something that sort of stuck out to you at any point in time throughout his career?
Yes, that's a very good question. Yeah, because I did want to be a goalie, so like when I play street hockey with friends, I like mimic his style because he was a hybrid goalie, right? So so then I actually like that because like getting on the butterfly, like it hurt, especially on like concrete, and then like get the street hockey pads, it's not the best, to get worn out, so like hurts. So like the stand up hybrid style was nice, but he did switch eventually to a butterfly. I don't know when, but like a lot later on, but yeah, it's cool to see how his game evolved over the years.
Yeah,
he was incredible, and the flailing saves, like the Dominic Hasek where he's on the back, the flail, like, and the puck somehow hits him. Like those were, I think it was the All-Star game I watched, and they were doing the the shootout challenge or whatever, where player after player after player, and he would just break random stuff out like that. And I'll admit, before I got into collecting the Mariners and A-Rod and Griffey and all that, when that bug got me, when I was into hockey very young, like that flailing stuff was just caught my imagination. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore. Like the stacking the pad save. I love those. It looks like you're just like you can just reach over maybe, but then no, they just like flail over. It's great. I loved it.
My buddy Mike Spiegel, a guy from high school, he's watched some hockey with me. He's like, Matt, did you notice this? Every time a guy makes a stacking the pad save, the announcer always makes sure to say something about like, old school stack the pads, like every time. You know what I mean? Because they just don't do it anymore. They make them more like slide over. Like if you saw Vasilevsky do that, I would like fall out of my chair because he would just slide his one pad over and kick it to the side.
Still cover half the net with his size.
You mean his pad size? Okay. Anyway, moving on.
No,
I know. There was that picture of him and Carey Price last year in the finals, and Vasilevsky's not much bigger than him, but he's just like huge. But he's a heck of a player.
Back in the day, wasn't the goalie joke about the pads about Lalime or something like that? Patrick Lalime had the huge pads, I believe.
That's funny.
Back in the days.
Didn't help him in the playoffs though against the Leafs.
Emotional damage. All right. Anyway, but wasn't there that Lalime thing more or less spearheaded Patrick Waugh? I know there was like a video of him in like talking with the commissioner or whatever about getting like regulations made. It's like, if we don't make something now, these pads are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. The gear underneath the jersey. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I caught onto that video. It was like in the late 90s because there was a big discussion about like just overall pads, and the gear underneath was just getting so big that where was the stopping point going to be?
Yeah.
That's when they came up with those regulations. And I'm certainly glad they did because, I mean, if they kept getting bigger, Ben Bishop might not ever allow a goal if he kept playing.
For real.
He was, he's 6'7", 6'8". I mean, he was good. So he was tough. He was tough for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Brodeur, gosh, I mean, how can you not like Marty? How can you not like him? Seeing him present the Vezina Trophy to Fleury, I thought was really a nice touch. I know it would have been so much better if it was in person, but fact that it was still done by Brodeur, because like when I was watching this ceremony, you guys can imagine my heart's like beating like crazy. Like, oh my gosh, if I see Andre Vasilevsky, I'm turning my computer off and walking away. Like, it can't happen. And to see Fleury win it and have Brodeur be the guy, his idol growing up, you know, and I find a lot of similarities between the two of them and like the way they enjoy the game and the way they're a little more they're technically sound, but they also make those flailing saves, you know, and the showmanship side of things. And all I have to say is I can't wait for Fleury I think he's going to do it before he retires, like Pecorine did, score a goal before he retires. Because every time he gets asked about it, he's like, I want to do it. And he tried it. I think he tried it last year in the playoffs for Vegas. They were up like 6-3, and he tried it and he whiffed it before the buzz went off. Like, no, that would have been awesome. But I think just to bounce off that, I mean, that's something that stands out about Fleury is just how much fun he's always having, and the type of person he is. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I know I'm not the only person he's taken the time to record a video for you know, somebody that works in the hospital, somebody that's done something nice for the community. I think players like that in hockey in general is so much better than most sports. I think we can all agree on that. Wrestling too. I know wrestling collector. I've seen John Cena do some of the nicest things for fans. But you know, to fall in line with that means a lot to me. Being a teacher, I think the type of person you are really means something. And to see a guy like Fleury, who just is a great person at the core, family man, doing it right. And he loves playing the game at an older age, still can do it well. It has a 6 setup. What's not to like, you know?
That's true. And
he's signed a 2-year contract, and if he stays healthy and Kirill Kaprizov comes back from Russia, I could see Patrick Waugh's wins record where he's at second all time being a Marc-Andre Fleury spot. So pretty excited. There's a lot to love about him, man. There's a lot to love about him. I have to say that, but I don't need to spend all day talking about that. But yeah, and the pictures on the cards help too.
Of course.
Pictures on the cards help too. What about Alex, Tim? Is there a player that you collect that, you know, just their personality or maybe the way that they behave on or off the ice, like attracted you to collecting them?
Tim, you go first.
All right. So for me, like maybe Mika Zibanejad, that bromance that he has with Chris Kreider, you know, it's just cute to watch, right? But I wouldn't say that sort of like drew me to collect him. It's nice to know, you know, that he is able to foster those kind of relationships, you know, within the locker room, Chris Kreider included. One little small funny detail is that I also collect Phillip Forsberg, but one thing that always stood out to me about Phillip Forsberg, jealously, he is able to grow out that mustache that, honest to God, I've always wanted ever since I was a kid.
I was wondering if he was going to say something like, dude, his stash is on fire.
Yes. Unfortunately, I wasn't gifted with that, but you know what? It's all right. I'll let Phillip Forsberg do it for me. Right. But yeah, him, you know, the relationship that Datsuk and Zetterberg had, maybe off the ice, where Datsuk always used to look to Zetterberg to sort of answer his questions during the press conferences because he didn't know much English at the time. You know, little things like that, they stuck out to me. But when it comes to collecting, it's more about the player attributes. Mm-hmm. And so for me, like, I love snipers. I love people who can shoot the puck, right? So that's what draws me to Phillip Forsberg, and especially his form, the whip on his stick. You know, it just called out to me. Once I first saw those first couple goals, me and Alex, we share a player in Alexander Semin that we both collect.
Yes.
He had one of the best wrist shots in the game. You know, Unfortunately, that wrist injury sort of just wiped him out. But yeah, another reason why I collect Alexander Semin, Ilya Kovalchuk, that slap shot was golden. You know, there was nothing really like it outside of Alexander Ovechkin. You know, who is the greatest of all time shooter. You know, Kovalchuk was second fiddle. You know, but top notch. If there was no Ovechkin, Kovalchuk was the best shooter of that generation. Bar down.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah. So for me, it's just being able to shoot the puck that draws me to players. You know.
Nice. I like it. Have some sort of wow factor, right?
Yeah.
Where they like you see him and you're like when I saw Tyler Glasnow pitch for the first time, I was like, oh, 100 miles an hour and an 82 mile per hour curve and people look ridiculous striking out. I'm a fan, you know, and he like screams after strikeouts. Like that was it, like hooked me. So I'm guessing same thing for you with some of these guys that you mentioned, right? Some of the things that you're doing. Yeah, I'm with you there. And it was same thing for you, Alex. Was there something like that too with these players that like, oh, I'm a fan now?
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off Tim, where like I just love like the skilled players. I know they're probably not the best players to build a championship team off of, but like Alexander Semin, loved him. Sergei Berzin, former relief. He only scored like 37 goals 1 year, but that man would fly down the wing and never pass. I loved it. His hair flowing out of his helmet, the visor, the jersey tucked. It's just like, so I love like the skilled players like that. Yeah, not so much about like I know you said with like Fleury, he's a great human being, and like Berter always showing like smiling, showing emotion. I think for card collecting, those things don't really, I guess, impact my collection too much. Same with Tim. It's just mostly like the skills that kind of draw me to the players that I kind of like.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let me throw this one out here for everybody, so everybody can jump in. If name a player who is playing right now, and like try to think. I mean, you can't say a superstar. Like Kaprizov was the first one I thought of, but like a player you don't collect, but if you could just, you know, you had the money to throw, you know, a couple $1,000s at a collection to get it started or whatever. What's a player that stood out to you? Because for me, I would say not Kaprizov. Everybody would agree with me, right? Like the dude is just on it. He scored a goal over Merzlikins' shoulder. There was about this much space, and he put the puck in there to tie the game with like 30 seconds to go. It's like, oh my gosh, like this guy's insane. But one guy that I find myself really liking is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and his passing ability. I've seen him make some really, really nice plays. And obviously he's playing on a line with like when he's on the power play, I'm just like, okay, we got McDavid and Draisaitl, right? But I really like watching him play. Like he seems very, very smooth on the ice. You know what I mean? Just very composed. That's a guy that I would say if I was going to pick a non-goalie. Elvis Merzlikins would be the goalie. But anyways, what about one of you guys? Who would you say, just from something you've seen, be fun to collect?
Well, for me, one of the guys that I didn't even talk to Alex about this guy much, but if we're sticking with shooters, right? One guy that I sort of, you know, thought about over in the past years of sort of buying a card here and there, Steven Stamkos. I mean, that's another shooter that you just can't, that has to be in the conversation all the time of one of the greatest shooters in the past 20 years, one of the greatest goal scorers in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So Steven Stamkos, I've always had a little eye out on him, but the prices were always a little bit out of my range. But if we're talking about endless money, then of course, I'll go for it.
Of course.
Money. That would be nice.
Honorable mention, Austin Matthews.
Oh, that's an easy one for me. Yeah.
Exactly. Those.
That's my pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would pick Jason Robertson. I think I like his game.
He's real. Oh, dude, he's so good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I didn't want to steal your thunder, but I'm glad you mentioned him. He's when you're watching a game as a fan who's new, like, or a fan like you guys who have been watching the game, there's something about him that's special. You just can see it when he's on the ice. Like, here comes Robertson. Like, watch out.
Yeah.
What else is it, Calvin? Like, what is the it factor that you notice with him?
I think he's actually a pretty good two-way player. Like I just see him in the playoffs. He actually made some pretty good defensive plays. That not a lot of people pointed out, and I just like his game. Fun guy to watch.
Now would be the time to get his stuff, because next year Dallas Stars are making some noise. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Jay Gottinger, that's the guy.
True.
He's got nasty setups too. He had that one setup 2 years ago with the black pads and like all those black and green like alternate jerseys, and he had the black pads and blocker and glove. It's like, oh my gosh, so sick.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to make the easy decision, but it's definitely Austin Matthews. Like, that's the easiest pick in the world, I feel like. But he's Maple Leaf, first overall pick, like. And not to go into story time again, but I have a different motive as well. So I was actually at his first NHL game.
Dude, what a game to be at.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
So me and my buddy, we kind of decided, this is before we had kids and everything, because I have one kid, and we decided, let's go to a game. Let's go to the game. So we decided the week before, bought tickets on StubHub or whatever it was. We were front row on the glass.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
and it was like,
awesome.
in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like that much. Where a lot of people were like, "How much you pay?" It's like a couple $100. But on his hat trick goal, so he scored 4, obviously.
Oh.
In the celebration, you could see me on the glass in some of the pictures.
No
That's so
way.
cool.
Yeah, so
That's
I
All
have.
right. Who's pulling up the picture? Is it on Getty?
Oh.
If I pull up Getty Images, can I find it?
It might be. I have it saved somewhere. Shoot. I'll have to find
Do you
it.
remember the team and the year?
Yeah,
I
it was
don't remember.
the against the Senators. It was I think like October 3rd or something like that, or October 5th. Here, let me
Okay.
try to find.
Let's see here. Okay, so here's, and I know I watched a video about Craig Anderson. He had, I think Craig Anderson, one of them signed the other stick, and Craig Anderson said something like, "Thanks for all 4 of them," or something like, just like having a bit of fun or whatever. But this is before the stash, right?
Yes, he was clean cut. Oh, I have the picture. I'll send it to.
If you send it on Instagram, I can put it up and show everybody, because that would be.
I send it through here, through the.
Oh, you can't in the private chat. You can if you want to link it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
I have my
pull this up here.
tweet. Yeah.
All right. So can I? Yeah. All right. So that's the awesome story. I had no idea about this. Tim, did you know this?
Yeah, I knew it.
So there's a couple
First one
pictures
that we shared.
here. I took these pictures, and then I think the 4th one is the actual. Yeah.
Hey, that is awesome, dude.
That is
Yeah.
great.
One of my
awesome.
favorite details is, so my buddy's on my left, so the one with the Leafs hat.
Oh
and-
no, he's not in there.
He's not in it, but his hat, he threw his hat on the ice like literally 5 seconds after that.
Oh, cool.
So
Wow.
that's his last picture with his hat. And I dropped my drink when I was banging on the glass. I dropped my beverage all over the floor. So
Wow, what
good
an
reason.
amazing picture.
yeah,
That's like permanent profile picture for me if that ever happened. Holy
yeah.
shit.
I want to get it signed one day, but
Yes.
we'll figure that out.
One day you'll have to make that happen for sure. What a memory. Cool
Yeah,
story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jeez. I don't think I don't know if I can follow that up, Ned. Can anybody follow that up? Jeez.
It was once in a lifetime. Like, it's crazy. We still, me and my buddy, we talk about it like every single day almost. Still,
I would too. That's
Yeah.
Does your buddy collect it all?
he does not. He doesn't have any cards. I gave him like a Thomas Caberlet like autograph back in the day. He has like on a little mantle, and then he actually got a puck from that game that someone threw over the glass for him. Yeah.
Oh,
So I think that's all he has in terms of collectibles. But
that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I guess that makes me want to ask this question. I mean, you have a kid. I think you're the one of 4 of us that does. But I don't know about you guys, but my family has seen the collection. So like, I don't know. I gotta start with Kelvin, because his dad almost made an appearance a couple episodes ago. That would have been awesome.
Bring him on.
He was like, no.
Yeah.
I'll start with you, Kelvin. What does the fam think of the collection? Is there an appreciation for it? Is it kind of like confusion? Like,
Oh, they don't care at all. They just know, don't touch it. Hands off on it. That's all they know.
gotcha. Any funny interactions, like friends, family, that like when you tell them what you have and what you do, like hobby wise, or you kind of just keep it under wraps?
I mean, I've told them like just kind of like just surface level stuff, but I mean, like, oh, that's cool, but like, nothing, nothing really beyond that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Same here. Like, nobody really cares. I'll show my dad like an autograph of a wrestler he used to watch like in the early 90s. He's like, oh yeah, who cares? Like, what? You're always talking about these guys. But yeah, like they don't dislike it, but I don't think they really care, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
What
For
about yourself,
me-
Tim?
For me, my dad and I are going to the national, and my dad is the one who pretty much started this all for me. So we still talk about it almost every day. We're excited. We're counting down the days. We're going on Friday. So as far as family is concerned, my dad, he knows that I collect. He engages in me in that hobby. My mom, she knows I collect, and she also engages with me in the hobby as well. Funny though that when it came to when I was younger and I was in high school, first of all, I'm in New York City, and New York City, I mean, where I was, kids didn't even really follow hockey from where I was from. And around my neck of the woods in my school, I used to, like a nerd, write down my entire collection on loose leaf paper, right? And then I brought it to school one day, and I was like showing my best friend. He was like, "All right, cool. You guys watched the Knicks game yesterday? Did you see Robinson?
Did you watch the next
Dunk?
game?
All right, so you collect." So, like for me, outside of my family, I never really had any friends face to face, right? That collected. That's why Instagram for me was great. That's why the forums for me were great. Facebook groups, because it sort of like brought everything in. Now I could interact with guys like yourselves and just talk, about the hobby that we all love. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, Alex, and we've talked about this with other people that have been on, but like, what does Instagram mean to you?
Well, for years I was on just the forums. Like I was on Beckett when I started in 06, and then they did an interesting move, and then I went to Hobby Insider and a bunch of other forums, and I feel like, especially now, like present day, Instagram's huge. Like,
Yep.
I love just scrolling through everyone. Like, I have my own personal one, obviously, and then I have like a hobby Instagram, and it's just like you see everyone's great collections. It's so easy to buy and sell. Just before, you would have to like put up a post on a forum, exchange DMs, and sometimes they don't respond. I feel like Instagram people are pretty quick to respond, and yeah, like like we joked around with Tim where like there's some stuff I'm like, should I buy this? And then I tell him, he's like, oh, that's the greatest card in the world. You have to have it. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get it for sure. And so like it's great having like just people to talk to and just share like ideas and yeah, it's just so easy to like display your collection and kind of just show off. Everyone loves to show off their cards, right? So I feel like Instagram is huge as opposed to like Twitter, where there's a lot of people that are just kind of annoying sometimes, and like Facebook groups, like everyone has their opinion. Where I guess you could do that on Instagram too, but mostly just people just want to look at the cards, right? Like I feel like it's good for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I noticed on Instagram too. There's a really good reciprocation of appreciation happening on Instagram as opposed to Facebook and Twitter. Both seem to be more like, hey, look at all this amazing stuff I have, but that's it. Those people are also not checking out other collections. They're just more focused on trying to make themselves look amazing. And the cards are amazing. It's great to see them. Like, I love being able to see those things. But on Instagram, I think the coolest thing is, somebody will post a cool card. You comment on there about how great it is, and you're looking for your player. Then that person eventually helps you find your player of that card or influences you to buy it. So then you've got that whole full circle interaction. And that's what's so cool about Instagram. Most of the people that we interact with seem to be really friendly, and except Brady, who offends us all the time.
Oh my gosh!
I hope he watches that part. Anyway, so I think it's the best platform, at least that I've seen. Kelvin, I'm sure you and Alex have come across each other on those forums and just not even known it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No idea. I was on Sports Card Forum.
Kukuchara. Same.
I was on Blowout.
What was the other one? Hobby Kings. That was more basketball. Ultimate Cardboard. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
UCB.
Yes.
Freedom Cardboard. How about that? Can't forget that.
Aussie Card Trader, I think, is another one.
I don't know.
I'm on Last Sticker. .ru. It's a Russian site. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Wow.
There's couple more that I'm probably forgetting.
Man, it just goes to show there's a lot of places to interact with people, but Instagram seems to be the big one, I think, for now, as far as interactions and finding like-minded collectors. Because if you're into buy, sell, trade, you want to just do that all the time. There's plenty of people like that. If you're into just looking at like the most expensive cards in the hobby, a lot of people on there doing that.
Yep.
And then people like us that are kind of in between all that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Really, really thankful for that platform. That's been way better than I ever expected. Because the baseball stuff, when I was posting A-Rod stuff, it was just a big like fest, which is cool. But there was never really any interactions between people. So I think that's what's been so cool. But the hockey, like you could post a $5 card, or a $100 card, or a $1 card, or a $1,000 card, and people are going to find something to appreciate, and vice versa, no matter what it is. So.
Usually, it's the smaller cards that get the most interactions too.
That's true.
Like the cheaper, I guess, cards, less expensive cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll post like a card that's worth $1,000, get like a couple of likes, and then I'll post one that's like a quarter, like a base card. You're like, yo, I love that shot.
Yeah. Kelvin and I were just talking about a card that one I sent the bell of to Logan and you. That I cannot wait to post the Cujo of that card because it looks like it could be like a big time pull nowadays. But it was, classic SP Authentic insert, baby. So cool. Very cool. Well, I guess to wrap it up here, we all have pretty big collections. I don't know what big would, a couple thousand cards, few thousand cards total. But I think we all kind of go about it in different ways, as like just storing and displaying our collections. For any of you out there, everybody's seen my picture that I have on my display, but like, do any of you want to or have cards up on display where you live right now?
No.
No, but okay. Why? I think I know why for Kelvin, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
Why is that? Space.
For me, it's about space.
Space, yeah.
New York City, small apartments, right? That's just what it is. For me, when it comes to storing and collecting, I have mine. I went to the Container Store. I have a whole bunch of like these plastic boxes. I don't even have like the actual cardboard, classic row boxes.
Yeah.
I just have these Container Store plastic boxes, and I put them in there. And then when it's the weekend, I have some downtime or whatever, I'll just take them out and just organize them and sort them. But classic penny sleeve top loader team bag for the majority of my collection, and then some that are up to the status of magnetics, and then yeah, exactly, magnetics. And then the rest they just go everything goes inside these Container Store boxes, and that's it. Simple setup for me. But that glass cabinet display, that's top notch.
I'm lucky right now because I have no pets, I have no kids, I'm not married, which I mean, maybe I would trade that for having display cases. But since I'm not, I had this dream of doing them, and I did all this extra refereeing for basketball one year, and I'm like, I'm getting paid pretty good money to do this. I'm gonna go down to this furniture store, and they're like, yeah, we can get a couple of these for you. Really? So, it's nice to see whether it's when you have an idea for a player collection or whatever, had an idea for what this display would look like. And that's actually funny enough when I knew I was done collecting A-Rod, because I did one with Fleury and I kept like, Alex, like there was like this halo above it with light,
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks so cool. And then I put all my A-Rods in the other one. I bought a second one, and it was easy to put that one together, obviously. Did it without instructions. And it sat to the left of the window. I started looking at like, I'm not vibing with those cards anymore. Like I knew it. I just didn't have the love anymore. So that's when I knew it was like, it's time to move on. So yeah, it's a temporary thing. I feel like, I won't be up there forever. Can't have kids with something like that. Can you imagine? That would be broken within a week. Alex, can you imagine what that would be like?
Yeah, I have my so I have like a office, I guess, just like a room with all my collectibles and other stuff. And yeah, that door is always closed. Like the cat doesn't get in there, the kid doesn't go in there. And yeah, like my stuff, I don't have stuff on display even though the door's closed. So I'm like, I know you need like the right amount of sunlight or the amount of the right amount of light But I'm
Yeah.
like deadly afraid of like my cards fading and stuff like that. Like
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
it's I'm deadly afraid.
Yeah.
If it's like touching the sun once, I'm like, oh, bringing it back. Like,
It's like steam coming out of it.
but yeah, I have
Oh,
everything in
that's
like those white like row boxes and
Yeah.
some binders, and like I have a lot of stuff in binders too, like lower
Love the
end
binders.
stuff. Yeah, it's
Gotta
great to
have
look
some binder
through.
love, man.
Mhm.
Like Kelvin was looking through all his. It was so funny watching him last night because this is it right here. Every 20 seconds, ooh, look at this one. Like you can hear him turn a page and he'd find another one to show. Like
Yeah.
that's old school collecting, baby. That's what we did growing up.
Yeah.
That's all we had. We didn't have magnetics and
Nope.
No,
didn't have all that stuff.
people are too reliant on that stuff. I feel like nowadays. I can't judge on like anyone's habits, but like
Yeah.
I see people like every card has to be in a one touch, and I'm just like, throw in a penny sleeve, throw in a binder. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came up with the stipulation, and there's actually some I should probably take out of top loaders. If it's out of 100 or less, it's got to be in a top loader. If it's worth, I don't know how I decided this, but if it's like a pretty substantial card, $50 or more, then it goes into a mag. Like I had to set parameters,
Mhm.
and I love seeing the $5, $10 cards that most people have in magnetics in a binder. They look great.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Mhm.
all right, Kelvin. So I have to say he's very organized because I was like, Kelvin, do you have this card? And within 5 minutes, if he didn't find it, he didn't have it. So what's the way you have it all organized, dude?
I have a binder just for base cards.
Okay.
It's sorted somewhat by year, like I guess by decade, I guess roughly.
Okay.
But then I have like a low end insert binder, which is what you saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Let's see, it's like an old like high school binder I had, and I was like, oh, I don't want to
So
buy
good.
one, so I just have
Oh, that's Crown Royal right in the
Oh.
front.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
Mhm.
yeah.
love
So
it.
just not
Mhm.
organized in any
I-
order at all, but just fun
That's a nice
low end
binder.
stuff. Yeah,
I see some familiar cards in there for sure, my friend.
yeah.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
The main collection's in like this 2-row box. I used to have them in like one touches, but then I was like, I actually rotate a lot. I'm like, I'll have them one touches. I'm like, oh, they look nice, and I'm like, they kind of take up too much space. But then now I have like even all like the high end stuff, like the PMG green. I have it in like a top loader, and then the team bag.
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, you can see in the background too. There's some boxes. There's just boxes everywhere, but nothing too fancy.
I got to give him credit when we chatted for the very first time, like you guys are meeting for the first time. He had a few cards like on the shelf displayed in the back,
Oh,
and I was
I did.
like, "Ooh, hey!" And then you could see like he went to a card show, and those were gone. I was like, the box of cards, his loot was in place of the display cards. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
yeah, I'm with you too, Alex. I have, and I think I'm just like convincing myself this is happening. I don't think it has. If you guys are familiar, the clear cut canvas cards with red ink on them. The red pens they
Yeah.
used like faded and soaked into the cards bad.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day I was looking at my red autos on my display case, and they've never really had like direct sunlight on them. And I was like, oh my God, these things are fading. And it's like one of my favorite cards. They got the big old grin on his face. So they're in the corner in the other shelf where no light
No light.
window ever touches them. And they look fine. They just, I just get paranoid. I can't let those fade because those are smart.
Yeah. Some cards, just the way they were made naturally, like some sets will just fade away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
As long as the cup hold the ink, I saw somebody list a flurry and it was really badly faded. I'm like, what happened? And in the description, he goes, I had these in a picture frame, which basically meant the sun was just coming straight in on them for years. And I'm like, oh, it was brutal to see, man. It was good.
I don't know if it was that same seller. I saw one that had a bunch of stuff from the cup, like different players.
Yeah.
I think it was like a lot of like signature patches and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and they were all like that. Like
That
they almost
probably
looked
the same
purple.
guy.
I was like, oh, what
Uh,
are you doing?
And it was funny to see the prices when Flurry was like at his peak, and like it went for like almost $100. I'm like, are you nuts? Like, you guys are nuts.
Yeah.
Like, so that somebody bought the Carey Price and posted it on, I think, Carey Price Collector on Instagram, and he posted it, and the auto's like 2/3 gone.
Yeah.
Like, I would just like get some stuff and like get it erased and like have him sign it again for me. You know what I mean? Like at that point. So
Yeah.
anyways, well, cool. Yeah, I think everybody's got their own way of doing it, but it's just neat to hear like just how different and similar everybody is. I love the binder. Tim, do you have binders? You didn't mention those. Do you have some?
I do. I have binders ever since I was literally a teenager. Untouched. I mean, actually, no, I shouldn't say untouched. They've just been holding the same cards, but I always like find different ways to organize them within the same binder. That's also how I sort of like, blow off some steam or whatever. But I definitely have a couple binders similar to, all the verdures. I have like some Red Wings inserts or, some base cards, like a titanium base are all in my binder.
Such a good set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely have a couple.
I mean, I think we could all get behind motivating people who even are newer to the hobby. Like, spend some time getting a binder, and spend some time putting some really cool inserts from Pacific and Upper Deck and Tops that are $5 or less. You'll have so much fun doing that, because we're definitely going to do an episode about that. I feel it coming. I just need some of them to show up, and then we can I can participate. But there's nothing beats just like going through the binder. Now here's a fun. This will probably make you laugh, because I want to see how OCD everybody is. I bought a whole box of 100 new pages when I reorganized my binder, because the old pages were all like foggy and
for
$20, I'm like, why not? They can be all nice and glossy and crisp. So. All right, I'm not the only one that does that every now and then.
No, I bought one of those Z Folio.
They're great.
Yeah, I bought it. I can't even find them anymore, or pretty sure if I look hard enough. But I bought one. It was like $30 or $25, which is for me for supplies. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty cheap. Like, I don't buy like one touches or anything. Like, kind of whatever I get, I kind of use. But I bought a Z Folio for my old Pokemon sets. So I put them all in, and they look fantastic. Yeah,
very. I use them too, and I bought them for modern for my glass now, because I mean, if you have, like, for instance, all these are in there. The set that recently came out. Yeah. But the backs are the same on every card, other than the numbering. So why do I need to see the back? I just throw them all in there. I can't see myself doing it with hockey cards, though. At least like Curtis Joseph, Jocelyn Thibault, Brodeur, Sakic, all those 90s guys, because of the backs are just as cool as the front. Some of them, like, think about 94, 95 Donruss or 93, 94, the one with like the cityscape in the background on the back. Like, imagine not being able to see that. So I can't see a Z Folio being good for 90s or even 2000s, but like Pokemon, obviously, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Or I've seen some Final Fantasy cards that look amazing, not going to lie. So all those and modern, all the backs are exactly the same. And most of the pictures are the same as on the front. So
minimal effort in a lot of the backs nowadays.
I know. I know about 15 to 20 people that if we all decided to start a card company, we would make some ridiculously awesome stuff. But we just need Mike Kramer to come back for a couple of years, and we can all go real. Anyways, well, cool. Well, I enjoyed this conversation, fellas. Alex, really nice to meet you for the first time.
Nice to meet you guys too. Thanks for having me on, obviously.
Yeah, you bet. And everybody's not offended at this point. I think we've moved past that. We're all good now.
Oh yeah. I had my turkey supper or whatever it was, and I'm good.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was jealous. I was like, can I get a couple of drumsticks? Like, that's what I always get on Thanksgiving. Like, I'll take those. Brady, when you watch this, so I can't wait to have you back, dude, because he's made some progress on his acetate Young Gun set, and it's gonna be really cool to hear about how he's been navigating those waters in this market. Like, the market's starting to, off season, and it's coming down. So it'll be cool to hear about that. But next episode or two, you can definitely look forward to us talking about some collecting on a budget cards. I think that's going to be a fun episode, because we all started there at some point, and there's some really cool cards of all of our players out there, man. Whether it's, and Alex, definitely want to throw this out here to you, like, bring in some other sports, you know what I mean? Like, you want to bring in Pokemon, you want to bring in wrestling, basketball, like, just some examples that can give them some things to think about. Like, that's only $3, that's only $5. I think it'll be a fun episode for sure.
It'll be fun.
All right, great. Well, everybody have a great weekend, and we will catch you on episode 7 next week.
All
See ya.
right. See you guys.